You answered calmly when they expected emotion. That was the moment they noticed something changed. Not because of what you said, because of what no longer moved you the same way. Chosen one. At first, even you could not fully explain it. You only knew certain conversations started feeling different inside your body. Situations that once pulled instant reactions from you suddenly created hesitation instead. Not fear, awareness. Someone says something sharp, and instead of reacting automatically, you pause first. Someone pushes your tone slightly, waiting for the usual version of you to appear, and instead there is calmness where tension used to be. People feel that shift immediately, even before they understand what changed. Because when your energy stops reacting unconsciously, your entire presence changes with it. At first, the changes are subtle enough to dismiss. Nothing externally looks very different. The same people still call you. The same conversations still happen. The same environments still expect the same version of you to show up. But internally, your relationship to those experiences has started changing. You notice yourself observing more before speaking now. Not intentionally, naturally. A comment that normally would have irritated you suddenly feels easier to let pass. Someone projects frustration toward you, and instead of absorbing it immediately, part of you stays emotionally still. That stillness feels unfamiliar at first. You used to react quickly, explain quickly, defend quickly, adjust quickly. Now there is space between the moment and your response. And inside that space, awareness starts revealing things you previously moved past unconsciously. The pressure in your chest before agreeing to something you already know you do not want. The exhaustion that appears after forcing yourself to remain emotionally available too long. The emotional distance between what you say externally and what you feel internally. Nothing dramatic may have happened. That is part of what makes this stage confusing. Life still appears normal from the outside, but internally, your nervous system has stopped responding automatically the way it once did. You can still perform the old behaviors, still answer politely, still tolerate the interaction, still keep the atmosphere emotionally comfortable. But now you feel yourself doing it while it is happening. And once awareness enters a pattern directly, your relationship to it changes permanently. Most people around you may not notice it immediately, but internally something already has. Eventually, other people begin noticing the difference too. Not because you announce it, because your energy starts changing before your words do. People sense when they can no longer pull the same emotional reactions out of you. That changes the dynamic immediately. At first, some people misread the shift. They think you became distant, detached, colder, less emotionally available. But what actually changed is simpler than that. You stopped abandoning yourself automatically to maintain emotional comfort for everyone else. That changes the way you speak, the way you listen, even the way silence feels around you. Someone says something expecting tension, and instead there is calmness. Someone pushes for an emotional reaction, and instead they meet patience. Not forced patience, real emotional steadiness. People feel that immediately because emotional consistency changes the atmosphere around you. The strange part is that many people may not consciously understand why being around you suddenly feels different. They only know something changed. And because most human interaction operates through emotional predictability, the shift becomes noticeable quickly. People are used to certain versions of you emotionally, used to certain reactions, certain rhythms, certain emotional openings. When those patterns change, people feel it long before they fully understand it intellectually. That is why your transformation becomes visible before it becomes explainable. What changed first was not your personality. It was your awareness. You started noticing how much of your emotional energy used to disappear automatically inside reactions. How quickly your nervous system adapted itself around other people's moods. How often your body tightened before conversations you already knew would exhaust you emotionally. And once you begin seeing those patterns consciously, the body starts responding differently. You feel emotional misalignment faster now. You recognize tension earlier now. Certain conversations feel heavier almost immediately because your nervous system recognizes the performance before your mind fully explains it. That creates internal conflict for a while. Because the old identity still exists. You can still become emotionally agreeable, still over-explain, still smooth tension over automatically. But now your body reacts while you are doing it. You feel the self-abandonment in real time. That changes everything, because awareness removes your ability to remain unconscious inside the pattern. The difficult part is that externally, life may still appear functional. People around you may assume nothing changed. Meanwhile, internally, the emotional cost becomes impossible to ignore. You feel it sitting quietly afterward. You feel it driving home after another interaction that pulled you away from yourself again. You feel it when silence becomes relief instead of discomfort. And slowly, something inside you stops cooperating with the old emotional patterns automatically anymore. Not dramatically, quietly. Someone expects immediate emotional access from you, and internally there is hesitation before the old reaction arrives. Someone waits for your answer, and part of you already knows the automatic response no longer feels true. That hesitation becomes the signal. Awareness is reorganizing your identity in real time, and eventually your presence starts reflecting that internal change externally. This is usually where people begin sensing your transformation most strongly, because awareness changes your energy before it fully changes your life. The old version of you reacted faster, adjusted faster, explained faster, absorbed emotional tension faster. Now there is more steadiness inside you, more observation, more discernment, more emotional restraint, not suppression, control. And people feel that immediately. Some people feel calmer around you because your nervous system no longer amplifies every emotional atmosphere automatically. Others become uncomfortable because they can no longer predict your reactions the same way. That is where many relationships quietly begin reorganizing themselves. Some dynamics weaken once you stop carrying all the emotional weight emotionally. Some conversations become shorter. Some people stop reaching for the same emotional access they once expected from you automatically. And at first, this stage can feel isolating. Not because you are losing yourself, because you are losing unconscious versions of yourself that once helped you survive emotionally. Even unhealthy emotional adaptations can feel familiar when they protected you for years. Part of you may still want to preserve them sometimes, but awareness keeps interrupting the pattern now. And eventually, the emotional exhaustion of abandoning yourself becomes heavier than the discomfort of changing. That becomes the real turning point. Not when life suddenly feels easier, when your nervous system stops accepting emotional self-betrayal as normal. Slowly, the pressure begins changing form, not disappearing, clarifying. You stop feeling responsible for emotionally stabilizing every interaction around you. You stop rushing to explain yourself every time tension appears. You stop volunteering emotional energy automatically just because someone expects access to you. And life begins feeling cleaner because of it. Not perfect, cleaner, more honest. You begin recognizing which relationships allow presence and which ones require performance. Which environments allow your body to relax naturally and which ones quietly drain your energy. Which conversations leave you grounded afterward instead of emotionally scattered. That awareness changes your behavior gradually, not through dramatic declarations. Through quieter shifts. You answer slower now. You observe longer before responding. You stop overriding discomfort automatically just to preserve emotional familiarity. Some people notice immediately. Others only notice when they realize they can no longer access the old version of you emotionally anymore. And that changes many relationships naturally. Some become healthier. Some become distant. Some quietly dissolve once emotional performance is no longer maintaining them. Nothing externally may collapse overnight, but internally your standards begin changing. The tension in your body matters now. The exhaustion after certain interactions matters now. The hesitation before saying yes matters now. You trust those signals faster instead of arguing with them constantly. And slowly, the distance between awareness and behavior begins narrowing. That changes your relationship with yourself completely. The confusion becomes discernment. The emotional heaviness becomes information. The pressure becomes direction. Because now you understand something most people spend years avoiding. Your reactions changed because your awareness changed first. And once awareness changes, presence changes with it. Eventually, calmness stops feeling forced. It becomes natural. You no longer react immediately just because someone expects emotional access from you. You no longer force emotional alignment with environments that drain you internally. You no longer override awareness the moment discomfort appears. There is less urgency inside you now. Not because you stopped caring, because you stopped disappearing inside automatic reactions. That changes your presence quietly. Your words feel steadier. Your decisions feel cleaner. Your energy feels calmer. And people feel that difference immediately. Some experience it as distance. Others experience it as strength. But what they are actually feeling is self-trust. You listen to yourself differently now. You notice tension earlier. You notice emotional misalignment faster. You notice when something feels wrong before forcing yourself through it automatically. And most importantly, you no longer betray that awareness immediately. That is what changed everything. Not one dramatic breakthrough. Not one perfect transformation moment. A growing willingness to remain conscious while the old emotional pattern was still happening. That small shift changed the way you move through the world. And eventually, people began feeling it too. People feel the change in you because your nervous system stopped reacting the same way. Your presence became calmer, more intentional, less emotionally automatic. You stopped abandoning yourself just to maintain emotional familiarity. That changes a person slowly. The conversations feel different now. Silence feels different now. Even your energy inside certain environments feels different now. And people notice that shift long before they fully understand it. Because emotional awareness changes the way a person carries themselves, the way they respond, the way they observe, the way they hold emotional space without immediately giving themselves away. You were never becoming colder. You were becoming conscious, aware of what drains you, aware of what no longer aligns, aware of how much of your life once depended on unconscious emotional adaptation. And once awareness changes your relationship with yourself, your presence changes naturally too. That is what people feel when they say something about you feels different now. This is obsidian within, forged in the shadows, destined for more.